And here goes the next project, a 2004 Mitsubishi EVO 8. And I did open up my own LLC since I was getting pretty busy in the garage, and it's called Gopher Garage. It was a buddy of mine who shot me the ad of the EVO 8 on Facebook Marketplace. So, seeing the price and the condition that the car was in, I decided to head over to a place called Lubbock, Texas, about 90 minutes east of us. And this is where I got to lay eyes on the EVO for the very first time. So the start is a tad rough. It is a cold start E85, but I did have to hold my foot down on the gas a little bit just to keep it alive. I figured we'll just address it as soon as we get home. So started to load the car up on the trailer. This was a very uneventful load up, thankfully. No drama. Just got it up on the trailer. Eventually got it strapped down, and then we started heading our way back to Clovis, New Mexico to start the new project. But before I do, I always have to stop at Panda Express. And my dog always loves a road trip. So we are back home in the garage now. Once the car is warmed up, it has zero issues idling whatsoever. I've taken an initial walk around with the car once I got back to the house. It's quite a looker. I have always loved the way that the Evo 8s and 9 look, among my favorites. But for sure, the first thing I had to address was tires. The tires that were on this car were extremely dry rotted. The owner had said that the tires had been on there for about 6+ years, and this was an Arizona, Texas car, so a lot of just dry, arid air that I think just attacked the rubber. So, being that this is a Texas, Arizona car, and now New Mexico, dust is a very common issue out here. Dust and dirt just cakes on everything. Kind of like to think of it just maybe as nature's natural rust protector, and it's just going to be probably just a little bit of power washing under and around the car. One of the things I saw was the uh, bumper here was cut. Looks to be an eBay exhaust, so we're going to take this off and we'll replace it with a better exhaust. The suspension also is mixed brands. On the rear, we have KYB struts, and then on the front, we have some Bilsteins. So I'm going to get some matching uh, pieces there. I'm not sure if I'm going to make them both Bilsteins or both KYBs, but we'll see when the time comes. The brake lines, I don't like the way that they're routed as well. The brake lines seem to have just kind of wrapped around a little bit. Like they're not kinked, but I just think they could be run a little bit better. So, and on the back side and the rear, you didn't see it, but the brake lines are rubbing on some arms, suspension arms in the back. So I'm going to reroute these brake lines as well just to clean all of this up. Getting under the car, I wanted to check some things out here as well. Again, I'm not seeing any rust anywhere. It's just all dust and dirt. Now, as I was jacking this car up, I did notice that the rear diff had some slight play in it. And looking online, it seems to be very common that the rear diff bushings on these, especially the mustache bar, would have to be replaced. So we'll get that done. The interior is probably a 8.5. I'd say maybe like a 9 out of 10. I'm pretty critical, but this interior is pretty amazing looking. There's no cracks, no deep cracks that is, and there's no tears. I'm really liking the condition in which this dash, rather this entire interior came. Now, one of the biggest cleanups I think is going to be this engine bay here. So because the hood is vented, it allowed just dust and dirt to freely go in here, especially while driving on these dusty ass highways out here in New Mexico and Texas and Arizona, just this side of the country. But again, I prefer it over rust any day. So I may pull the motor out and clean this whole thing up and then drop the motor back in. There are some slight oil leaks. There's one on the valve cover. There's also one, I believe, on the pan, and then maybe somewhere on the head as well. So I'm going to get new seals, seal all that up when I pull the motor out. The transfer case, I think one or two seals on that need to be replaced as well. It's not a bad leak. There's no drips falling or anything, but I just want to have a good, nice, clean engine bay when everything goes back in. But anyhow, got the tires mounted on the wheels. I went with the Ventus V12 tires and went with the factory size tires. But yeah, finally got some new ones on and went ahead and torqued them down so I can take this thing for some spirited driving. So, the thing I think that some of us will try to avoid is a compression test. For some of us, if the car runs well and there's giving us no issues, then we probably just don't really want to know maybe what the numbers could be. But just me having good conscience, I just like to know the health of my engine. So, going to go ahead and do a compression test on this motor. One of the things that was not in the for sale ad was this coil on plug conversion. So pretty excited to see this here. I'm going to test these out as well to make sure that they are in spec. So, but first, as always, probably just check the oil and check all the fluids. Did have good clean oil and is at levels, so that's a good sign, I guess. Okay, so I'm gonna remove these pigtails from the coil on plug conversion harness. This was already here. I obviously did not wire any of this up, but super easy. Once these two pieces on each side of the coil pack cover here come undone, then I can just go ahead and unbolt the cover, and we'll be able to lift this up along with the coil packs. All right, so we can go ahead and lift this up. And one of the immediate things I notice is that I believe that cylinder number 4 on the driver's side, there's dirt, not just on the boot, but it was also inside of the boot. So that's initially just going to just raise a small red flag for me. And as we look in here, we can see that there is dirt caked all inside of the cylinder there. I have no idea why, or rather the spark plug well. But we're going to go ahead and take the plug out and see if we can find anything. All right, so let's go ahead and check it out. Everything is loose now. I'm going to pull this one out because I'm really eager to see if I find anything. And there it is. Dirt under the bottom side of that spark plug there, top side. So the top looks like it's just kind of a thin layer of film, but right here it's really caked. It's been hardened, so I imagine it probably wasn't allowing this spark plug to seal very well against the cylinder head. Um, it is really, really hard. It would take a pick to get these little pieces off. So I ordered new spark plugs. I'm just gonna put all new spark plugs in here. But as you can see inside the spark plug well, there's also a lot of dirt just caked, and I don't know why or how that got in there. But it's only that one spark plug well. So I'm gonna take some fat Q-tips from Harbor Freight with some water, and I'm just gonna do this however many times it takes. 10, 20 of these things. I'm just gonna keep going and going until it's clean and I can come up with no dirt because I like to be able to put some new spark plugs in here. I have a really good seal, and who knows, maybe it'll help with that, a little bit with that hard start issue. I mean, I think regardless, E85, especially in the cold, is not going to give me great startups every single time, but I mean, I can't imagine that cleaning up this cylinder on the driver's side isn't going to help. And here are the 4 spark plugs removed from the engine. Okay, so let's jump into this compression test here. So the first one that I did, the number came out to right at about just 130, and the next one was a solid 130. The third one was a little bit over 130, and then the final one was right at or just a hair under 130. So would have liked 140, but this was a cold engine that had rain in about a week or two. The car runs extremely well, and the numbers were consistent across the board, so I will take it. Next video, we'll be doing the mustache bar and the carrier diff bushings.